But now you might be saying, well, if we're living in an everlasting kingdom, then why is our modern world descending into such tyranny and chaos and wars and famines and pestilences and earthquakes and on and on? That's a very good question. My best response to that would be 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10, where it says, "The love of money is the root of all evil." Now in our modern world we have a usury money system that has taken over our modern world, and it violates Leviticus 25:36, which says, "Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury." And the Savior drove the money changers out of the temple because he hates usury, because that enslaves the people and puts them in bondage. And since 1913, the Federal Reserve System has had the power to print money out of thin air. They seduced the Congress and Woodrow Wilson to give them the power to print these Federal Reserve notes out of thin air, and then we would be responsible to pay the interest on these notes in the form of income taxes. The income taxes have nothing to do with the government. They go straight to the bankers' pockets, and that's why they're able to control the world and seduce many good people to join their wicked behavior. So we need to abandon any association with any government official. We need to try to do all we can to fight against these evildoers. And they fund both sides of the war. They started in 1917 in World War I, and they funded both sides. And then they seduced the biologists to create the Spanish flu vaccine, which they gave to the soldiers to spread all over the world. And according to the reports that I've studied, approximately 50 million people died because of these poison vaccines. And vaccines are the true weapons of mass destruction. Perhaps they've killed more than the wars, because they can go in and innocently affect the lives of millions of people, because they suppress our immune system so that the body doesn't know that it's sick. So therefore there's no symptoms, and then when the people die, they cover up the cause of these diseases. Vaccines have nothing to do with the prevention of disease. Vaccines are the cause of disease. And this knowledge has got to go out, because my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. I hope and pray that you will join with me in boycotting all vaccines. They're putting cancer virus in the vaccines. Yes, they were caught doing so. And in the Baxter labs, they sent the live avian bird flu to 17 laboratories in Europe, and they were caught red-handed. You know what they said? It was an accident. These people are cover-ups and liars, and we must expose them for the sinister way they're controlling the world. Now they control the courts, the military, the schools, the police, the doctors, the hospitals, the churches, the pastors through the 501c3, and even the legislatures, the president, and even the media. Now they can cover up whatever wicked deeds they want to do. If they'll just give the media some Federal Reserve notes, they'll say anything for $1. People will do anything for some of these Federal Reserve notes. That includes setting off demolition charges in the Twin Towers to destroy 3,000 lives. Silverstein did not care about those 3,000 lives. He bought asbestos-filled buildings that were in trouble anyway for $150 million in the spring of 2001. And what did he do on 9/11? He was having a party because he collected over $9 billion Federal Reserve notes from insurance settlement. Yes, he did. And he said about Building 7, we just had such terrible loss of life we decided to pull it. That's demolition charges. All 3 buildings came down by controlled demolition. And William Rodriguez testified all over the world now, as the janitor in the building, that the bombs went off before any planes were shown to have hit the buildings. And there was no wreckage of any planes hitting any buildings. That was a fairy tale for TV only, and the people have been duped into and deceived by this great cover-up that's still ongoing. So we need to expose this cover-up, because we know that no steel building has ever come down by fire, because steel takes 2,700 degrees to melt. That is the law of physics. And no jet flame can even get over 1,500 degrees. So we know that these buildings came down by controlled demolition. And then Silverstein collected for the State of Israel. And now the State of Israel has been trumped up since 1948 as the fulfillment of Bible prophecy. This is a joke, because we know that all Bible prophecy was fulfilled in 70 AD, but now we have imaginary messianic expectations, and therefore we can justify the wars, and the book of Revelation has come alive, and everybody makes their own assessment as to what stage of the book of Revelation we're in. Well, they should wake up and recognize that the war in heaven was a done deal from 67 to 70 AD, and abandon these imaginary messianic expectations, because now our modern world is one more war and the Messiah will come, right? That is the gospel of Armageddon, and it needs to be purged from our consciousness. We need to wake up and recognize that this State of Israel is just a wicked tool of the bankers that they're using to promote their wars. Because notice on 9/11, they had a war with Afghanistan, who was the enemy of Israel, and they took on Iraq. And what's going to be next? Iran? They just have a war mentality. They like to fund both sides to keep people in debt. The more wars they have, the more debt they create, and the more control they get of our society. And we need to do all that we can to fight against them. And one of our principal ways to fight is through the sword of the Spirit. And I encourage this very highly, because the Savior said, "He that takes up the sword will perish with the sword." We cannot fight these wicked people with carnal weapons. We need to take up Hebrews 4:12, where it says, "The word of God is living and active and sharper than any two-edged sword." This is the sword that we need to take up. This is what it's living and active. When we must recognize that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. This is what we need in our modern world, is the fear of the Lord. The fear of man is not what we need. We need the fear of the Lord to come back into our modern world, and then we can have peace in this world. So I hope and pray that everybody will join with me in opposing these bankers, and we can transfer some of our assets into constitutional money, silver. I bought these coins for $6.15 in 2003, and now they're well approaching $18 an ounce. So that just shows you how much the dollar is depreciating, and we're ready for the economic Armageddon to take place as the paper money system implodes. And if you don't have any silver and gold, you will be destitute. And I hope and pray that you will join with me in getting some silver and gold before it's too late, because our Constitution gave us real money, biblical money, where it said in Article 1, Section 10, "No state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debt." Our Savior was betrayed for 30 pieces of silver. So this is the most valuable metal on the planet, bar none. And it will soar in value once the dollar declines. So I hope and pray you'll join with me in abandoning this paper money system.